Columbia professors fearful of new wave of protests as new school year begins. Well, maybe you shouldn't have created all those little Nazis then, because it's professors that are responsible for this in no small part, especially at far left schools like Columbia. Now, Columbia University's new school year starts September 3rd, and some professors are already worried about another semester of chaotic protests. After activist groups have declared they will be back. Hey, you guys made them. You encouraged them. You're the ones that were all about this behavior. Now deal with it. It was all fun and games as long as you're the one that gets to unleash them on everyone else, right? But now that they're coming for you, now it's suddenly a problem? What's going on here? Same with the news on Wednesday that the university president, Minouche Shafik, has stepped down to be replaced by interim president Katrina Armstrong. The next semester is even more uncertain. Yeah, the university president was just like, nah, I'm out. I'm done. I'm not putting up with another year of this. Like, nope, you guys can have it. Do whatever you want. Not my business, not my problem anymore. So last spring, raucous protesting and illegal encampment and occupation of Hamilton Hall sent classes remote and upended final exams for the main commencement. In a July statement, Minouche Shafik said the university is undertaking community building efforts to quell the tensions, including setting up new orientation programs, facilitating negotiations between activist groups, and clarifying school rules. Well, as you've been demonstrating for the past few years, the only rule is do what you could get away with. Some professors who saw the protests escalate last spring worry that history will repeat itself. The Post spoke to 3. Well, what was your role in creating these useful idiot activists? I spend a lot of time worrying. Oh, no. Won't someone think of these poor professors who created this monster? I wouldn't be surprised if things are just as bad when the semester starts, said Cliff Stein, a computer scientist and professor of industrial engineering. This is extremely upsetting. I'm seeing Nazism on my own campus in the world I inhabit. I spend a lot of time worrying about it. Yeah, maybe you should have listened to us years ago. Because people like me, we've been pointing out the real Nazis have always been on the left. It's you who, you thought, you got that 400 Rick and Morty IQ. There's no way you'd be wrong, right? I mean, obviously the National Socialists were right-wing. It's in the name. Of course they were right-wing. And we've been warning you that all these left-wing Nazis are going to turn on you, but nope. You would rather manufacture fake Nazis on the right than fight the real ones on the left, and this is what you get. So though he was not teaching classes last semester, Stein was the director of Data Science Institute on campus. When Columbia moved to shutter campus to all non-essential staff following the occupation of Hamilton Hall on April 30th, Stein, who has taught at the school for 23 years, said his work was severely disrupted. Maybe you should have fought against the Nazis sooner. I found it particularly upsetting when people were standing outside my building chanting slogans that could be interpreted as calls for violence. It felt intimidating and threatening. Not as funny when it happens to you, huh? He said the protest also made academic life impossible for people like a visiting teacher he hosted from Germany who could never actually access the campus due to the lockdowns. Well, at least that teacher hopefully got a good vacation, I guess. So she couldn't get on campus after picking up and moving her family across the world to spend time at Columbia, Stein said. So these are, why are these protesters allowed to stop that? That has nothing to do with bringing peace to the Middle East. Once again, man, they've been allowed to get away with way worse when it was targeted at the right. And by the right, I mean anyone who's not far left. I'm using their own definitions for this one. But now that it's happening to you, it's a problem, right? You'd be encouraging this if it was still the other way around. Stein has said that he has spoken to many staff members who feel the same way he does about the chaos on campus. Number of faculty and students who are on the side of the protesters is actually small. I think a silent majority is being hijacked by a minority. Welcome to the club. He said that Armstrong's interim appointment has sparked a glimmer of hope after Shafik's failures. I think she has a tough road ahead of her, but gives me hope that things may be better this year, both in the enforcement of the rules and the messaging that comes from the president. All right, Tiny Hat students feel uncomfortable. Well, they've been supporting the Nazis for so long that now they're surprised. Like, what? Nazis don't like tiny hats? Who could have guessed? What's going on here is making our tiny hat students feel uncomfortable. So Elliot Glassman, an adjunct professor of architecture, told The Compost. It's very unsettling how our school and academia could be hijacked. Just you wouldn't look. Your side already hijacked it. Look, this shouldn't be a surprise to you. You guys already hijacked it. And well, did you think you were immune? You think no one could hijack it from you? You thought you finally got one over on those Nazis only to be blindsided by them? What's going on here? Why is this a surprise? It's just demonizing one particular side as opposed to being thoughtful and solutions oriented. Hey, you guys are the ones that keep, maybe not you personally, but your compatriots keep training your students that silence is violence. You got to make your voices heard. Don't let them keep you down. All right. When they use those same tactics on you, it's a problem, though. Why is that? I thought you were all for this stuff. Oh, only when it's not used against you. All right. Glassman, who is a practicing architect, taught his first class at Columbia last fall. I started off the semester fine. Then October 7th happened, and obviously that was very traumatic, he recalled. I couldn't look in any direction without seeing dozens of pro-Palestine posters, and some of them were very inflammatory. These are the Nazis you guys have been siding with, so I don't want to hear any complaints. Don't like it when the dog you trained turns on you? Well, should have kept it on a tighter leash, I guess. Glassman was particularly offended by lectures hosted by the architecture school about settler colonialism. It was I was more offended as an academic than as a tiny hat because there really wasn't anything to do with it really wasn't anything to do with what we were supposed to be teaching the students. He said, "Oh, you mean like gender ideology? Oh, it's okay to teach them that, but all this other stuff that's inconvenient to you, though. Wait, why are we even teaching them this?" Besides being inflammatory and incorrect, what does that have to do with architecture? Yeah, what does gender ideology have to do with any degree for that matter? Yeah, it's awesome getting a taste of your own medicine there, huh? He said he's watched the value of Columbia indoctrination degrade. No, ad hat? I think that's supposed to be, and that many tiny hat students have confided in him that the protests on campus made them feel unwelcome. Yeah, that's the point, right? This is what you guys have been helping do to anyone to the right of Stalin. And now that the Nazis on your side are doing it to you, now you're realizing, wow, I'm made to feel unwelcome. This isn't fun. It wouldn't be tolerated against any other group. Glassman said, "Oh, go fuck yourself. This has been tolerated against white people, against conservatives for how many years now? Yeah. Oh, this wouldn't be tolerated against any other group. Always the perpetual fucking victims, huh? So it can't go unchallenged. We have to call it out now before things get normalized. Where were you 5 years ago? Well, what were you doing when Milo was pretty much canceled out of his Berkeley speech because they were burning shit down or trying to? Yeah, you already normalized this. It's just you didn't do it against your people first. You did it against white men in particular. But now that it's come for you, now it's suddenly dangerous, huh? So I worry about the impact on our students and even future students' desires to attend Columbia. Oh, it's basically none. Just like with Evergreen. Remember how far how low their attendance dropped, or that their new enrollment dropped after they went full woke? Turns out people actually want to go to a decent school that'll make them money. So going into the new school year, Glassman said the apprehension is that there's going to be so many activities on campus that make the environment even more hostile. I think the fiery but mostly peaceful protesters have spent time planning and strategizing what they can do to make the atmosphere more uncomfortable and more distracting. Exactly like you guys trained them. It's just they weren't supposed to be doing this to you, were they? That was never the deal. And he puts the blame on the school as well as protesters. If the administration was doing a proper job, the activists would not continuously be testing the boundaries and moving the goalposts. Well, what about the professors that turned relatively normal kids into activists? You're not going to have any blame for them? All right, that would require taking accountability, Mr. Professor. That's unfortunate. All right, then we got Tom Hayes. I'm concerned about the safety of the students. Let them. No, that's their problem. Let this sort itself out. Just leave. Well, when the far left is fighting amongst themselves, don't interfere. Tom Hayes is not surprised that Shafik stepped down as the president of Colombia. Next semester is going to be terrible, potentially career-ending. She's smart to get out while she can. Yeah, I kind of agree with that too. Like the previous president probably realized that this was a no-win scenario, so just stopped playing, took her ball and went home. Yep, this isn't my problem anymore. The assistant professor of pediatrics added that while he doesn't know much about Armstrong, he's definitely not more optimistic about the upcoming semester. Part of the problem, he said, was the school's nervous refusal to acknowledge the situation. Well, they know the mask is off and everyone knows they're Nazis, but they're not yet willing to turn on their own. It's really striking with the absence of discussion at the medical center because everyone was too busy bending the knee to discuss anything. So Colombia, after George Kirby, after every election, it's a place where they really wear social justice on their sleeves. And now you're witnessing the end result of that. Did you really think that you were going to be the underdogs forever? That they were going to stay on your side? Hell no. No, this is why whenever a communist revolution succeeds, the revolutionaries are immediately disposed of. Because otherwise they'll keep fighting everyone else. So there are often emails from the department about how we're going to be addressing racism or bias or social justice as physicians. And it's just striking me that after October 7th, it's kind of like an awkward, let's not talk about this. Hey, welcome to the club. Now you know what life has been like for white men for the past few years. Like, wait, I thought racism was supposed to be bad. Shh. It doesn't count when it's against white people. Just let it go. We don't want to rock the boat. So there were literally people who had preached that silence is violence. Now we're being silent after October 7th, said Hayes, a neonatologist who specializes in newborn intensive care. It's almost as if they were always all talk, huh? What makes you think that? Seeing viral videos of students being pushed out of the protest encampment for being quote-unquote Zionists alarmed Hayes, who is a tiny hat. Going into next semester, I am very concerned about the safety of students. Well, if you were that concerned, you shouldn't have turned students into this. They didn't become this way on their own, you know. This was intentional. They were brainwashed into being this way. You created these Nazis to use as a weapon against your enemies. And now the weapon's turned on you. Hope you're ready.